Emergency tier list update. Good morning, guys. Petko here. I know we have had changes 3 days ago about Balance Druid, Enhanced Shaman, a bit of a Brewmaster changes. So you guys been asking me, hey Petko, where is the update on the tier list? And keep in mind, those updates were not big, so I'm just gonna make a video quickly for like 10 minutes instead of making the whole stream 2 hours vote into a massive video, just to give you a TLDR of what exactly happened. First thing first, let's talk about S plus tier. I know you guys been confused. If Restoration Druid is going down to the A tier from the most recent hotfixes, keep in mind, even though they got hotfix, they've got a compensation buff, which again, I believe they are enough to be cementing their place into the S tier. I believe next season 3 looks like Druid will be the best healer so far, unless there's some further changes down the line. In regards to the rest of the DPSers, both Frosted and Unholy are insanely close to the S tier. I've placed Frost more than Unholy because I believe Frost will be played more than Unholy. There might be some scenarios where you would like to play Unholy, for example, but I think majority of the time you'll be playing Frost. But both are very strong, just like Sup and Asa Rogue. There might be situations where you might want to play Sup instead of Asa, but Asa right now looks absolutely incredible, especially from a mass AoE point of view. Now, the reason why Arcane Mage is up there is because very good prior damage and final damage, which is exactly what you need in a comp like this. Especially when it comes down to single target. Right now, Assassination, pure single target without any funnel and prio. Looks to be a bit on the lower end compared to Arcane, for example. Frost Mage also incredibly strong. Frost Mage can be played instead of Arcane in mass AoE dungeons where you actually don't need that much prio. So Frost can be a better pickup in some cases compared to Arcane. Again, dungeon dependent, hence why I have it here. But ultimately, Arcane should be a better choice. Anything else in best candidates hasn't moved an inch. Again, we're having here Ellie, Destruction, BM. I believe that Destruction can do more damage than Ellie. Ellie does better single target than Destro. However, in uncapped mass AoE, Destro definitely beats you. But you have one thing that Destro doesn't have, and that's a raid buff. Sky Fury is incredibly powerful, even if you do less than Destro. The fact that you have Sky Fury, you can be picked up instead of, for example, Mage. A lot of content creators right now talking about, hey, could Ellie actually make it to the S tier and remove Mage? Because keep in mind, Ellie ST is actually very, very strong. The prio damage is not as strong, but if you already have Asarok to do prio, you might not need one. Hence why maybe Ellie can get into conversation compared to Arcane, because you get to buff the tank and you double DPS. I'm not sure how much damage increase does Rogues and Dead Knights get from Sky Fury, but if my memory doesn't evade me, Unholy Dead Knight and Frost Dead Knight benefit quite a lot from Sky Fury itself, because flat mastery buffs plus Wind Fury on top of it, that must be pretty good. So that's about it. I still believe Restoration Shaman to be the best healer for a physical comp, and as you can see, the alternative is, I believe this season for a long time we've had balancing so good on tanks that is crazy to tell which one is going to be on top. Hence why I've placed all of them here in alternative S, because you can actually play any of them. You can play Prot Warrior, Brewmaster, Protection Paladin, and Vengeance. Keep in mind that Prot Pally has very high skill ceiling, which means if you're a beginner player or even intermediate player, you might want to consider Warrior, Vengeance, or Brewmaster, just because they are much simpler to play. One mistake on a Paladin, you are Dios, especially if you play in a perks where you don't have a communication. You can't really get in a scenario where you actually can ask for external defensive cooldowns, like sack me, for example, PS me here, give me Iron Bark, you might end up dying. Okay, so my advice here would be just try Warrior, Brew, or Vengeance. I still think Vengeance would be likely the better option, but that's my opinion. Moving forward to the A+ tier, the only change here in A+ tier is Balance Druid. As you guys can see, they went from A to A+ tier. They climbed around 7 spots up. Keep in mind that Balance has been buffed, yes, once again, for the second time in a row. The buff was much bigger in raiding, but it's also going to be impactful with Mythic Plus, with a better single target and better AoE damage. Hence why I moved them a little bit up. I think they are far away from being meta, but they're walking in the right direction. I think the single target of Balance right now needs a little bit more love from Mythic Plus. Perhaps, I mean, they did give you flat buff 8%, but then they nerfed the Loon's Chosen, which is your go-to talents for Mythic Plus. So maybe you wanna play Keeper of the Grove in some of the dungeons where you just need a lot more ST, but overall AC should be the better choice. Enhance, I think climbed only one spot. Keep in mind that Enhance changes were pretty minor. The buffs were insignificant. The single target of Enhance is still quite low. I don't like it at all. It's still struggling. I would love to see it being further tuned up, maybe in the end of the month, because today's the World First is coming in 2 days, and I don't think there's going to be any more tuning for season 3 up until maybe like after the race. So that's about A plus here. No changes at all. On A tier, absolutely no changes at all. I think Preservation Evoker is often underestimated by a lot of people. They think it's bad. I honestly think Preservation Evoker has one of the highest damage output across all healers. Very strong HPS. If the whole group understands how to play around Preservation Evoker, it's most definitely a little bit difficult to pug with it, but overall should be fine. I brought Windwalker back to the comp dependent. They were previously put to the B tier. I brought them back in for the comp dependent because I believe that if you are playing Protection Warrior, you'll likely want to play with Windwalker. Just given the fact how strong Restoration Shaman is and Restoration Druid, I don't think you'll be playing Mistweaver. Honestly, that's pretty disappointing, but gotta be honest with you. Currently, both Restoration Druid and Shaman outshines Mistweaver by a large margin in mostly everything. Plus, Mistweaver have pretty bad external defensive cooldown with Chikakun, and I don't think it's gonna be as useful. I'd rather play with Windwalker Monk right now in a Prot Warrior comp and build around them. For example, with a Rogue in mind, or Death Knight, or Feral Druid, or even BM Hunter. Speaking about BM Hunter, a lot of you seem to be disappointed that BM was placed in the best candidates, aka being the best Hunter spec. I sincerely believe that. Yeah, I have like these thoughts. Like once you get to the 4Ps, once you get to the higher level gear, once you hit your best secondary stats, you have infinite crit and haste. Beast Mastery Hunter becomes perma cooldown machine. Like Bestial Rat will be present all the time, and that will bring your damage very high up. And people often underestimate BM Hunter because they see people playing PTR with like 25% versatility and be like, oh shit, this guy doesn't do any damage, but they don't realize that you scale very good with secondary stats and you will be slapping late game. That's my bet on it. I will see how it's going to play out. Survival is also one of the Hunter spec that people often underestimate, and they're like, oh, nobody plays Survival, it's pretty shit. I'm here to tell you Survival, which is going to be one of my main ults this season, will be actually the best Survival Hunter you've seen the whole expansion, okay? Ever since the War Within beta came up, Survival right now is the best version of it, and it's quite strong, and most of the time, you can even out DPS some of the classes placed above you. Keep that in mind. I understand no party buffs, Hunter's Mark kind of a meme, whatever, but I still think it's going to be a relatively strong pickup for next season, okay? And last but not least, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that's going to be Disc Priest. People often asking me, okay, so with the restoration to the changes, can Disc Priest make it up to the meta? Answer is no, I don't think so. With the way they stand right now currently, I don't think this goes to the S tier unless there's another nerf done to restoration to it. In that case, I think this can be brought to the S tier. But if Discipline Priest get to the S tier, that's pretty much goodbye to Shadow Priest, which I think Shadow Priest can be a situation of flex pickup for the caster meta. For the hybrid meta, it is possible to play with Shadow Priest. But you just have to remove something strong. Like, for example, you gotta remove mages, which is not really optimal here, given the fact how strong they are in the niche spots where most of the group comp can fail, okay? I think that's everything, chat, so far. That was a minor update. Keep in mind, I'm gonna be continuously updating the tier list throughout the season, as every single season for the past 5 years. If there are any changes, the first thing I'm gonna do, make a video about the changes, update the nice veins, and if the changes are big enough, I'll make a YouTube video specifically talking about that impacting the Mythic Plus, okay? Once again, first gets updated nice events, I'll ping you in Discord as always, and then later on the videos will come up, okay? Other than this, I wish you guys happy season. It's coming in exactly 2 days, and I hope you guys achieve your goals. Once again, I'll be broadcasting and streaming live push, hoping to get plus 15s the first week, hoping to push high score, etc., and make you guys proud. That's gonna be the plan. For the people that do not know, I'll be maining Air Shaman, and likely do my best to, get as much squad as possible before the alpha of Midnight come up, which I think, if I'm correct here, Midnight Alpha should be around October. If I'm correct, maybe October, end of September, but we'll see. Maybe I'm not, maybe I am. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. And once again, if you have any questions, let them down below. I'll answer it. And please be constructive with the feedback. If you don't agree with something, let me know why don't you agree. And I can obviously lay down the arguments and tell you what I think about it. Peace out. Have a good one. And as always, see you on stream later today.